think I've seen this man before. The Rocket, Ronnie O'Sullivan, the greatest snooker player that's ever lived, and possibly one of the most highly achieving sports people Great Britain has ever produced. An absolute wonder to behold in full flow, capable of doing things on the snooker table that most other players could only imagine, if they could imagine them at all. Right-handed, left-handed. The class of 90.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, the 7-time world snooker champion, has not played a competitive match since January 2025. Widely regarded as the greatest player in the history of the sport, his prolonged absence has sparked growing concern among fans and pundits alike. The 49-year-old's hiatus began after a disappointing performance at the Championship League, where he smashed his cue during a defeat to Robert Milkins. Since then, he has withdrawn from multiple tournaments, citing health reasons, leaving his future in the sport uncertain. O'Sullivan's last competitive appearance was at the Championship League in January 2025. After losing 4 of his 5 group matches, he snapped his cue and left the tournament prematurely. This marked the beginning of a series of withdrawals that have dominated headlines. He subsequently pulled out of the Masters, one of snooker's most prestigious events, just over a day before his scheduled match against John Higgins. O'Sullivan cited exhaustion from a grueling 3-week trip to the Far East and Saudi Arabia as the reason for his withdrawal. He even worked as a pundit for the BBC during the tournament, explaining that the demanding schedule had left him physically and mentally drained. The withdrawals continued with the Welsh Open, where O'Sullivan pulled out at the last minute, leaving fans who had traveled hours to see him disappointed. He apologized publicly, stating that his decision was based on medical grounds. This pattern persisted through the German Masters, World Open, and World Grand Prix, with O'Sullivan failing to qualify for the Players' Championship and Tour Championship due to his ranking. As of now, his next scheduled appearance is at the World Snooker Championship in April 2025, though his participation remains in doubt. O'Sullivan has been candid about the reasons behind his initial withdrawal from the Masters. He attributed his erratic behavior at the Championship League to fatigue, explaining that the intense schedule of exhibition events in Asia and the Middle East had left him exhausted. However, subsequent withdrawals have been attributed to broader medical grounds. O'Sullivan has not elaborated publicly on the specifics of these health issues, but his focus on prioritizing his well-being has been a recurring theme. In a statement on social media, he apologized to fans, saying, "I've been trying to prioritize my health and well-being, which sometimes means making last-minute decisions not to play. It's never an easy decision, and I hate letting people down." O'Sullivan's struggles with health, both physical and mental, are well documented. Early in his career, he battled drug-related issues and depression, which threatened to derail his career. In 2011, he began working with psychiatrist and sports psychologist Steve Peters, a partnership he credits with helping him maintain his mental well-being on the tour.
At this moment in my life, I look back and I think, wow, how have I got through that? Because it was that bad. The darkness and stress and addiction. I didn't know how to live sober.
Would I change it? I think, well, no, I would. I changed quite a lot of things in my life. Yeah, I'm not one of them, that was what it was and it done me good. No, a lot of the things I've done have been quite long, I've had long-term damaging, I think, There's some things that are out of your control, so obviously like my dad going away, I wish that never happened. That would have probably stopped a lot of the other things going wrong in my life. I'm not blaming my dad for that, it was just that I lost that sort of support mechanism in my life. I'd never drank, I'd never smoked, I'd never done any of that sort of stuff.
The 2023 documentary, Ronnie O'Sullivan, The Edge of Everything, shed light on the ongoing challenges he faces, particularly his struggles with anxiety and nerves. The film highlighted how these issues affected him during his World Championship final victory over Judd Trump in 2022, showcasing the mental toll of competing at the highest level. O'Sullivan has also taken extended breaks from the sport in the past. During the 2012-13 season, he stepped away from snooker for nearly a year, only to return and win the World Championship in dramatic fashion. This history of balancing competition with personal well-being underscores the complexity of his current situation. At 49, O'Sullivan's age and lack of match practice have fueled speculation about his future in the sport. His absence from competitive play since January has raised questions about his ability to perform at the highest level, particularly at the World Snooker Championship. where he would need to produce a miraculous effort to secure an unprecedented 8th title. Sky Sports' Nigel Chu said his fans will hope he can do something similar this season to break Stephen Hendry's record of 7 world titles. After all, snooker is much better with O'Sullivan at the table, but his life comes first. The possibility of retirement looms large, especially if O'Sullivan decides to skip the crucible. His withdrawal from the World Grand Prix in Hong Kong, a tournament he reportedly loves, has been seen as particularly telling. Snooker legend Jimmy White has provided some optimism amid the uncertainty. He revealed that he has heard positive whispers about O'Sullivan's potential return, including news that the 7-time world champion has found a cue he is happy with. White emphasized the importance of match practice ahead of the World Championship, stating, "He needs some match practice before the World Championship. He needs to get amongst it." However, he also recalled O'Sullivan's past success after long absences, adding, "Do you remember when he did not play for a year, and then he came and won the World Championship? So as long as he is playing, he has every chance."
Never easy. Ah, what a pot. What a pot that was.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, the 7-time world snooker champion, could be set for a dramatic return to the World Championship in Sheffield after nearly 4 months away from competitive play. The snooker legend has been absent from the professional circuit since December.
Oh wow, what a pot!
He's looking to see if this red will pass the pink, but even if it does, tough shot. Oh, what a shot. What a shot.
Snooker MC Phil Seymour has revealed that O'Sullivan has been practicing regularly behind the scenes, despite his absence from tournaments. Speaking to Record Sport, Seymour said, "If Ronnie is there, then he is there to win. That's all you can say about it. Do I think he will be there? I have no idea." Seymour, who hosts the 147 podcast with Masters champion Shawn Murphy, added, "I've heard from a couple of guys who do TV coverage that when they are covering tournaments, Ronnie is at the practice table all the time, and I don't doubt that for a second." The uncertainty surrounding O'Sullivan's participation remains palpable. Seymour said, "It wouldn't surprise me if he plays and wins it, but it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't turn up." O'Sullivan's potential return is fueled by his desire to surpass Stephen Hendry's record of 7 world titles. Seymour explained, "He has 8 Masters, 8 UK Championships, and 7 Worlds. He will want to beat Stephen Hendry's record. A victory at the Crucible would be particularly remarkable given his extended absence." Seymour added, "There's no question he is the greatest. Even Stephen Hendry acknowledges that. But if Ronnie was to come back and win in Sheffield, that would be one of the greatest achievements." The snooker MC pointed to precedent for such a comeback, saying, "Over 10 years ago, he took 12 months off and won the Worlds, so there's everything to say he can do it. It would be an incredible achievement if he won it." O'Sullivan's last competitive appearance ended dramatically during the Championship League in Leicester, where he reportedly broke his cue and left it in a bin. His withdrawal from tournaments has sparked retirement fears among fans. He pulled out of a Masters clash with John Higgins just a day before the match was scheduled, and subsequently canceled planned returns at both the Welsh Open and World Grand Prix. In January, O'Sullivan explained his absence, stating, "I've obviously been on this 3-week trip, playing exhibition events in Asia, away playing, and I think I just exhausted myself. I lost the plot and snapped my cue, so that's unplayable. I just knew, at that moment in time, the right decision was not to play." O'Sullivan's withdrawal from the World Grand Prix in Hong Kong further fueled speculation about his future. The 7-time world champion was scheduled to play China's Si Jiahui in the opening round, but withdrew for medical reasons. In February, O'Sullivan apologized for his recent withdrawals, saying he needed to prioritize his health and well-being. He wrote on X, "I realize plenty of people who bought tickets to some recent snooker events will have been frustrated when I withdrew, so I just wanted to say sorry to those of you who've been disappointed with me having to pull out of those tournaments." He continued, I've been trying to prioritize my health and well-being, which sometimes means making last-minute decisions not to play. It's never an easy decision, and I hate letting people down. I'm doing what I can to get back to my best, and I'm grateful for all your support and understanding. O'Sullivan's sporadic participation in 2025 has cost him financially, with potential earnings of £300,000 now out of reach. Since his UK Championship first-round defeat by Barry Hawkins, he has skipped 7 events: the Shootout, Scottish Open, Masters, German Masters, Welsh Open, World Open, and the World Grand Prix in Hong Kong. The snooker icon admitted his disappointment, but emphasized the importance of prioritizing his well-being. He said, "I am very disappointed not to be competing. I had been eager to make my comeback in Hong Kong and have put in my utmost effort, but unfortunately, I must consider my health. I wish to sincerely thank the organizers and all the Hong Kong fans for their support." O'Sullivan's next opportunity to compete will be at the World Championship qualifiers, which run from April 7th to April 16th in Sheffield. The main event at the Crucible Theatre begins on April 19th, with the final scheduled for May 5th. The world number 4 has only played 5 matches this year, all of which took place at the Championship League in Leicester, held behind closed doors. His withdrawal from the Masters at Alexandra Palace, citing exhaustion after a grueling series of exhibition events abroad, further highlighted the challenges he has faced this season. Despite the setbacks, O'Sullivan remains one of snooker's most celebrated figures. His potential return to the Crucible, coupled with his pursuit of an 8th world title, continues to captivate fans and the snooker community. As Phil Seymour noted, if Ronnie is there, he is the man to beat. Ronnie O'Sullivan, snooker's most iconic figure, has been absent from competitive play since early January. His next appearance is not expected until the World Championship in April. Despite this hiatus, the Rocket remains the sport's most talked-about player, with retirement rumors swirling after a series of withdrawals and a dramatic incident involving his cue. In January, O'Sullivan made headlines during the Championship League when he snapped his cue in frustration. This was followed by his withdrawal from a planned Masters showdown with John Higgins. Since then, he has pulled out of several tournaments, including the Welsh Open and the World Grand Prix. These actions have fueled speculation about his future in the sport. However, reigning Masters champion Shawn Murphy believes O'Sullivan will not retire until he surpasses Stephen Hendry's record of 7 world titles. Both players are currently tied at 7 world championships, and Murphy thinks this milestone will keep O'Sullivan motivated. Murphy shared his thoughts on the 147 Snooker podcast, stating,
"I don't think so. I can't see it. Can you? I just... Right, here's the deal. I don't know Ronnie O'Sullivan particularly well. He doesn't know me well at all, and I don't know him either. You know, despite having been on the same tour for a long time, he turned pro in 92, I in 98. You know, we haven't spent much social time together ever. So I don't really know him, and as I say, he wouldn't know me either. So you never know what's going on in somebody's world and somebody's life, do you? And so I'm sort of reticent to get too into it. But
he continued,
I can't see whilst he's tied with Stephen Hendry on 7 world champs that he won't keep playing. I just can't see that. But as I well know, they don't hand world championships out just for turning up. Just because you're Ronnie O'Sullivan doesn't mean you're going to win another one. He has, of course, won 7, so he knows more about it than most. I don't think this is the end. I think he's actually doing what he said all along he would probably do, which is do it on his terms, play when he wants, and as and when he does want to walk away, he'll walk away on his own terms in the manner in which he decides.
Murphy also highlighted the significance of O'Sullivan's cue incident, stating,
"Let's not forget he smashed his cue up last time out, so that's a huge problem. You know, it's not like a golfer just going to the tour van and getting a new golf club. It's not like a tennis racket, a tennis player just getting a new tennis racket. You know, not having a cue that you're used to can be career-ending for many players."
Despite his belief that O'Sullivan will continue playing, Murphy expressed concerns about the promotional material for O'Sullivan's upcoming public appearance in Saudi Arabia. The event allows fans to watch O'Sullivan practice, but Murphy found the wording of the advertisement unsettling. He said, "I found the wording of that advert slightly concerning. Halfway down the poster, it said, 'Be close to Ronnie,' and I read that and thought I wasn't sure about it. It sounds a bit creepy to me. What are we selling here?" Meanwhile, Stephen Hendry, the Scots snooker legend, has weighed in on O'Sullivan's potential retirement. Hendry believes O'Sullivan will return to action at the World Grand Prix in Hong Kong in March. Speaking on his Snooker Club podcast, Hendry said, "He does like playing in China. He's loved over there, and I'd be shocked if he didn't play in Hong Kong. But I don't know what to think about what's going on, really." Obviously, smashing the cue has had an effect. Hendry added, "When he's working at Eurosport, I hear that he's still on the practice table. Part of me thinks he's just going to play in the World Championship. Is that the goal for this season? Is that the plan? I don't know. The event suffers a little, there's no doubt, if he's not in it. It's slightly impacted by him not being in it. I think if it was in the UK, then he wouldn't play. But the fact it's in China, and the fact he has a couple of weeks in China and is then on to Hong Kong means I think he will." Hendry also speculated about O'Sullivan's current mindset, suggesting that the competitive drive may not be as strong as it once was. "I don't know whether it's just because it's the UK, but I've been saying it for a while. I think that the competitive sort of juices are maybe not what they were. He maybe prefers playing exhibitions, doing a bit of punditry, and having no expectations or pressure. Maybe he's just got to that stage in his life where he doesn't want to put the mental effort into playing comps." He concluded, "It's a strange one. It's a disappointing one for the fans and for me. I love watching him play. I'm hesitant to say it, but it would be a shame if we never see him play again in a major tournament. I don't know what his plans are." Joining Hendry on the podcast was world number 1, 33 Matthew Selt, who was less optimistic about O'Sullivan's return. Selt said, "I don't think you'll see him until the Crucible. I'll be amazed if he comes out before that. I don't see that he prioritizes the World Grand Prix or that series of events as highly as the Triple Crown events." Selt also emphasized the significance of O'Sullivan's cue incident, stating, "You have got to be in a particularly bad place to snap your cue at an event. The fact that he hasn't returned to playing since then, I think he'll want to get as sharp as he can with a new cue and then come back for the Worlds. That's if he does play at the Worlds. He clearly is struggling in being able to focus on playing, and it's such a shame to not have him at every event. Every event is bigger with him in it." He added, "You might not see him until the Worlds, and then there's a chance he might not even play at them. I think it will be a sad day for snooker. You have fans, snooker fans, and Ronnie fans. There aren't many who don't like watching him play, even if you're not a fan of his. It would be the end of an era." Hendry has also joked about wanting O'Sullivan to retire to preserve his own records. O'Sullivan recently surpassed Hendry's record of 775 career centuries, further cementing his legacy. Hendry told this in 2015 to BBC Radio 5 Live.
So it's there's a lot of snooker that I'm watching being a commentator for the BBC, and it's not a great standard, and I'm thinking I should still be playing, but obviously it's easier said than done.
So we could be seeing a Stephen Hendry comeback at the Crucible?
At this point in time, sitting here, I would very much doubt it, but as I say, it's an option.
You're not ruling it out?
No.
He added,
The back of his mind is 7 world titles. He obviously needs another 3 to break that, so that's going to, obviously he's going to have to play for at least another 3 years. So, I'm hoping he retires soon.
Would you like to hang on to that one at least?
I think that's the one. Yeah, that's the one that I'd really like to keep, because I think if Ronnie doesn't do it, I can't see anyone else doing it.
And the fact that he's 39.
Hendry retired from snooker in 2012 after being knocked out of the World Championship. He holds a record 36 ranking titles, while O'Sullivan has 27. Hendry believes O'Sullivan is currently in a league of his own, stating,
Yeah, absolutely. I think as I say, I think there's only Ronnie out there that's playing to a standard that's he's very, very far above the players that are playing.
Last year, World Snooker Chairman Barry Hearn mentioned that Hendry was considering a return to competitive play after rule changes allowed former champions to enter the World Championship qualifying rounds. When asked about this possibility, Hendry said,
"Be a possibility for you?"
I'm still not decided about the World Championship. It's obviously there's an option there for me to play in it, but I'm only going to play if I think I can play well and do myself justice. So yeah, it would mean obviously going back to the practice table and sort of putting the effort in, and I don't know whether I'm ready to do that yet.
But does it appeal potentially? Because if you watch that, and I mean, do you watch the players who are playing now and think, well, I could beat him?
O'Sullivan's future remains uncertain, but his impact on snooker is undeniable. Whether he returns to competitive play or chooses to retire, his legacy as one of the sport's greatest players is secure. Fans and fellow players alike await his next move, hoping to see him back at the table. Charismatic and ever-ebullient professional Shawn Murphy is sending shockwaves through the sport as he readies himself for the World Championship.